guys! Welcome to my last MH204 vlog. It's me, Amanda. Today I'm going to be talking about what contemporary literature is, why contemporary literature is significant, and what can and should a work of contemporary literature do, and then I'm going to give you examples of things I've found in our contemporary literature this semester. So, to start, what is contemporary literature? I have found that contemporary literature is literature that has been produced since 1970, but it's like way more important than that. It's something that contemporary literature isn't just like short stories, it isn't just essays, it isn't just poems, it isn't just things that don't necessarily follow a specific pattern. Contemporary literature is meant to cause you to think, which is why it's significant. It's meant to pick you up and to put you in someone else's shoes and like help you see things from their side of the world. So yeah, that's why it's significant, because a work of contemporary literature should cause you to like read something and perhaps it's a commentary on the social state of our world and then make you think about it, which it's kind of a commentary on the human condition as a whole. Like, I mean, I can't really necessarily relate to the people in Aurora. Like, I don't do drugs and I don't live in New Jersey. That's it, right, New Jersey. It took me a second, it's been so long since I've read this. But, like, I can't relate to them as a whole, but, like, maybe tiny parts of things I can relate to. And I think that what contemporary literature is meant to do is to point that out to people, that maybe you can't relate to the homeless person standing out on the street corner, but I'm sure that there are small things, like that person is someone's child, or you are someone's child, and that kind of makes, like, an all-encompassing humanity about it. And I think that that's what contemporary literature as a whole strives to do, is to bring out the humanity in all of us and help us understand that we are all the same deep down. Anyways, so yeah, contemporary literature is recent literature that is produced to help us understand and tolerate and respect our fellow human beings more. And if more people read contemporary literature, any literature, I'm pretty sure a lot of world problems would be solved. Anyways, so the works of contemporary literature vary. We went through like the three main types. I guess these three main types kind of cover everything. Like, I mean, there's fiction, there's nonfiction, and there's poetry. And that fiction and nonfiction on their own kind of encompass everything, unless you like get a book like A Million Little Pieces, and that kind of like transcends fiction and nonfiction. But yeah, anyways, you get my point. Like, these are what contemporary literature is. Contemporary literature isn't just like one thing. It's not just like poetry, and it's not just nonfiction, it's not just fiction. Contemporary literature is anything produced more recently, and I think I already said that once. Anyways, the few works that I've picked out to show how, the few exemplary works that I've picked out to just kind of re-encompass and bring this semester to a close are Aurora by Junio Diaz. And I think that this highlights the diction that can be used in contemporary literature. In non-contemporary literature, classical literature? Yeah, in classical literature, a lot of grammar rules are followed and it's more of a structured form. But in Aurora, the story starts with incorrect grammar, which actually kind of bugged me a little bit at first, but we're okay now. Anyways, earlier today, me and Kat drove down to South River and bought some more smoke. You wouldn't find diction like that in literature from like the early 1900s. Like, that's just not something you do. You find a lot of more formal, verbose statements, but this just gets like straight to the point. So the diction of Aurora is indicative of a lot of the style used in contemporary fiction. And the symbolism and emergency, one of my favorite lines is, "There's so much goop inside of us, man," he said, "and it all wants to get out." And that just kind of speaks towards like the human life. Like, there's just like so much crap that we have to put up with, and like there can be so much anger and just like angst and upsetness and stress inside of us, and like in reality it kind of just all wants to like get out. But so yeah, and I mean, even more so, like, the line from Aurora isn't something that everyone can relate with. Like, yeah, we drove down to pick up some pot. No, that's not like super relatable. But there's so much goop inside of us. I'm pretty sure most people could relate to that. So that speaks to contemporary fiction. As for poetry, the styles of poetry that lend themselves to the contemporary arch is kind of yeah, just like the style used. Like, there's no set style for a contemporary poem. It can have stanzas. See, stanzas? Or it can just be like big blocks of text with photos put in, just much like Claudia Rankine. And that's actually, I really enjoy Rankine's style because as a photographer, I enjoy like using photos and then incorporating writing with them. And yeah, I particularly enjoy her poems for that reason. And also, another thing about contemporary poetry is kind of the way that it's transcendentally vague, I have found. I mean, poets definitely probably have meaning behind their words, and I think that in a way poets strive to hide the meaning behind their words, so you have to do a lot of research to perhaps figure out what they're actually saying. But at the same time, I feel like there's a certain degree of anonymity in a poem, and it kind of lends itself to allow the reader to figure out what's being said, which is pretty, I think that's kind of standard among all poetry, but I think that the way that it's done in a lot of contemporary poems, kind of alluding to like far past historical events, especially like, I think it's John Taggart. Yeah. I had it bookmarked, but I can't find it now. Dang it. Anyways, yeah, poetry, the style of poetry definitely lends itself to being contemporary because stuff like this would not have flown in the olden days. And as for nonfiction, which I feel like we didn't really do the nonfiction section justice because we only had a little while to work on it. But anyways, I feel like the nonfiction is just reflections on life as a whole, and they're all true. Like, yeah, nonfiction means they are all true stories. So it's kind of like taking the human heart and putting it on a piece of paper and being like, here, read this, understand, and relate to me. And I particularly enjoyed Living Like Weasels for that reason, and also Leap. I thought Leap was a very poignant essay and a really great way to reflect on life, that like in our last moments we just want to be with other people. Like deep down inside we are all beings who enjoy being together. And that being said, I want to thank everyone in this class for being sorry, I don't mean to get sappy. Thank everyone in this class for just being like who they are and being outgoing and being fairly positive about all the subject matter. I'm actually really impressed that everybody was fairly respectful about everything. So yeah, this is the end of it. Bye guys.